What's up, Weirdlings? As you may have noticed, we hit 1 million views, and that is super freaking amazing! Like, I can't even begin to explain how amazing, actually. That's like Disney World amazing. I just bought new yarn amazing. Or I just bought new fleece amazing. So pretty. Or I found the map making kit amazing. I just got a new board game amazing. Honestly, almost none of those things are amazing as you guys sitting down and watching our videos every time we post them. Thank you. You're the reason I wanted to do this for the long time, because I wanted to have a community to talk to about programming and board games and all kinds of things. So here's to you, friend. I raise my coffee glass. Here's to another 1 million views. I'm so excited for the next milestone. To celebrate 1 million views, I wanted to talk to you guys on camera. I wanted to answer a couple of questions. I made a call out to the Twitters. If you are not following me on the Twitter, you should, so that we can talk and chat and do the things. At KnittingDev. KnittingDev everywhere. Instagram, Twitters, you know the deal. Oh, except for on Facebook. Facebook, I'm the Knitting Developer. I'm working on whether I want to keep the official title, the Knitting Developer, or if I want to just shorten it to KnittingDev, or maybe I just need to keep both. Yeah, let's keep both. Joseph Fuller asks, have you sat down and watched Shut Up and Sit Down's review of Time Stories yet? The answer is yes. And it made me a little sad, but the guys are known to be a little bit on the critical side, and that's okay. I think their hard stance on their reviews of board games makes them a great player in the board gaming space. Though I've taken their criticisms, it seemed like they've only played the game as a 2-player version. I could be wrong, but the game plays best at 4 players. And I imagine if they did play it in a 2-player scenario that they didn't quite get the full experience as intended. And part of their complaints were about how grindy it can be and the fact that you are going over the same mission over and over again. Honestly, those are kind of the things I'm looking forward to in the game. The one thing that I really applaud them for putting out there is it's not about necessarily the mechanics of the game, it's probably the storytelling aspect. And the 2 stories they came out with were probably not the most unique or creative storylines. What this does open up is amazing possibilities for comic book artists, artists too, but writers and all kinds of fantasy writers to create a mystery, and that would be super cool. I would love for Fraction and Chip Zdarsky to write a sex criminals plugin for this game. Could you, it's already kind of a mystery thing. Yeah. All that to say, I am glad I have it. I understand it's going to be expansion hell, but I think it's worth it to support these creative ventures in board games. We don't see these huge leaps into mechanics and attempts to create something just completely new and not seen in the space. Monochrome 11 asks, what are some of the best games based upon fandoms? And I'm gonna have a little bit of a confession time. I actively avoid most fandom-based games, mainly because I want to enjoy the fandom and not be let down by a board game, or I don't want the board game to spoil something in my fandom that I haven't gotten to yet. With that said, Gale Force 9 did an amazing job with Firefly. When I am playing Firefly, even though it's classified as Ameritrash, there's lots of things and bits and pieces and baubles, it feels like I'm in an episode of Firefly or I'm replaying the movie Serenity, and that's what you can hope for in a fandom game. Another one that does really good for celebrating the fandom is Battlestar Galactica. Our group really grasped onto this, and we still tell stories about who was a Cylon, who wasn't a Cylon. In fact, some people are permanently branded as Cylons. We may have somebody in our group of friends that may have been called a Cylon in the middle of a Hanabi game. Oh my gosh, and I didn't even think about, okay, so I lied to you. I don't actively avoid. I have avoided Game of Thrones. I've avoided Lord of the Rings. So, not actively avoid. I loved Star Trek Fleet Captains. If you are looking for a 2-player, like, take all day or take a couple hours type of board game, get Star Trek Fleet Captains. It is so worth the investment. My husband and I spent so much time playing that game after we got it before it got stolen out of my car. I hope some poor sucker is out there playing that game and having fun, because I am not. My fellow contributor Danielle Daverona actually sent me an awesome question. What are some of the best art-centered games out there? This one was a really hard one for me to think of. So the one that came out Spiel this year is The Gallerist, and it was on my list. I thought it was very interesting. It just didn't make my top 5. And it's, I think, comparative to Mark's modern art game, where you're running a gallery and it's supposed to be really, like, kind of worker placement-y. I don't know. I've not played it yet. I will probably have to look into it more for you. Like Camerai25 said, most games feature on aesthetic and less about the gameplay itself. I mean, down to its core, Pictionary is a game about art, but not very good art, right? And it's such a hard one. The game that I feel that celebrates art the most is Dixit. Dixit has wonderful artwork. It's all about storytelling and being inspired. In fact, it seems like something that'd be right up your alley, and one day we need to play together, because I just think you would love it if you haven't played it. Speaking of Camerai25, he asked a really awesome question about how I feel about expansions, expansion fatigue, added complexity, and here's my deal. I fell down the Dominion rabbit hole. I owned it all. I owned it all until, just like Star Trek, it got stolen out of my car. I like expansions because I like the idea of providing more value to my board game that I've probably already played the crap out of. I can see where you would find expansions to be a little fatiguing or tiring. Dominion was a good example of that. They had a 6-month schedule on the dot. Every 6 months you could guarantee an expansion, and those expansions weren't always the greatest, and they always added mechanics that were very polarizing in the game. Also, I am more inclined to buy expansions that are expanding players I can add to the game, or expanding, unique tokens or those types of things, than I am to buy, complete rule changers. If I wanted a complete rule changer, I'll buy a new game. Most of the time I'm buying expansions for a game I love because I want to add more players, or I want to be able to have more options when I play and make it more replayable. Sam Morales asks, have I ever played Crossmaster? And yes, I have. I have played it, and I have let my own friend go down the rabbit hole of those models, because if I go down there, I'm never coming out. I'm never making a new video again, because I'm gonna be drowning in models forever. Before we leave, I want you to click right here. See Miss Danielle's face? She is our artist. She is amazing. She does cute, awesome, funny videos. And she probably has given the most sincere thank you to our community that I have ever seen. Having the opportunity to just hear her story, or at least a piece of her story, in such a beautiful way, and understanding what this community means to her, really helped me reflect on what it means to me as well. You are doing yourself a great disservice if you have not watched her video. I don't think she left a dry eye in the house. Watch that video. It will change your perspective on this channel, and in a great way, in an amazing way. So before I leave you, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like question and answer videos, I want to do more of them, so leave me questions. Leave me questions in this video, and I will try to do another one later, and we can just kind of chat. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Weirdlings. We do this every week. I really like doing board gaming content, so I'm trying to bring you new board gaming content, new interesting things to think about, and just new stuff. So here you go.